In this episode, we'll explore what attachment actually is and how it shows up in everyday relationships in ways most people recognize immediately. Attachment is often talked about as something rooted in childhood, which can make it feel distant or overly theoretical. While early relationships do matter, attachment is best understood as a living system that continues to operate throughout adult life. It shapes how people relate to others, how they handle closeness and distance, and how they respond when connection feels uncertain. At its core, attachment is about safety in relationships. It answers a simple question that operates mostly outside of awareness. When I'm close to someone, do I feel safe, unsettled, or unsure? The answer to that question influences behavior far more than people realize. Attachment is not a personality trait, it is not something you are, it's something you do in response to relational situations. The same person may feel secure and relaxed in one relationship and much more alert and grounded in another. Have you noticed how different relationships bring out different sides of you? One way to understand attachment is to think about how people respond to closeness. Some people feel comfortable with regular contact and emotional openness. Others feel a pull to create space when things feel intense. Neither response is right or wrong. There are ways of managing connection so that it feels tolerable. Another way attachment shows up is through responses to distance. When contact reduces or becomes uncertain, people often react quickly. Some seek reassurance, checking in, or reaching out more often. Others pull back, focusing on independence or self reliance. When someone important becomes less available, what do you tend to do? Attachment also influences how people interpret everyday interactions. A delayed replying, a change in tone, or a cancelled plan can carry different meanings depending on attachment patterns. One person may see these as natural events, another may experience them as signals that something is wrong. How much meaning do you tend to attach to small changes in connection? It is important to say that attachment patterns develop because they are adaptive. They form as a way of staying connected while managing emotional risk. If closeness once felt unpredictable, distance may have felt safer. If connection felt fragile, staying close may have felt necessary. These patterns were not chosen consciously, they developed through experience. Attachment is also highly context dependent. People often assume they have one attachment style that applies everywhere. In reality, attachment shifts depending on the relationships and the situation. Work relationships, friendships, family dynamics, and intimate partnerships can all activate different attachment responses. Where do you notice yourself feeling most settled, and where do you feel more alert? Another everyday example of attachment at work is conflict. Some people move towards discussion quickly, wanting to resolve things and restore closeness. Others prefer time and space before engaging. These preferences are often less about communication skills and more about how safe closeness feels under strain. Attachment also shapes expectations. People develop assumptions about what they can expect from others. Will needs be noticed? Will distance increase under pressure? Will closeness come from conditions? These expectations often operate quietly in the background, guiding reactions before they are fully thought through. Understanding attachment as a system rather than a label makes it easier to relate to. It is not about categorizing yourself or others, it is about recognizing patterns in how connection is managed. Attachment is visible in behavior, timing, tone, and attention, not in diagnostic categories. The perspective also helps explain why attachment becomes more noticeable under stress. When situations feel uncertain or emotionally charged, attachment systems activate more strongly. Reactions become quicker and more automatic. This is not a failure of insight, it is how relational safety is monitored. The aim of understanding attachment is not to change who you are in relationships, but to recognize how connection is being negotiated. When patterns are named, they become easier to work with. Without naming them, they tend to repeat. In the next episode, we'll build on this by looking at how different attachment patterns tend to show up in adult relationships, using everyday examples that make these dynamics easier to recognize. That's the scope of this episode. Each episode focuses on one specific theme, and this was it. We'll leave it here for now and move on in the next episode.